what I figured. That's just the gate.
Good evening and welcome to the Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals, January 27th, 2020, public hearing. Matter of in-house, if you have a phone, please turn it off or place it on vibrate. If you wish to speak amongst your petition, please do so outside the hall for decorum. If you wish to speak in favor and opposition of a petition, please come to the podium, state your name, and sign in for public record. Tonight, voting member Mark Briere will be the alternate voting member. We have no continued business. I'm going to take the agenda out of order and move to extension requests from previous petitions. We have an extension request at 102 Appleton Street. Einstein Realty LLC is seeking an extension of a variance for 1 year in order to allow the necessary time to exercise a variance originally granted on August 27, 2018. Since the original variance was granted, the applicant has requested and received a 6-month extension. At this time, the applicant is unable to complete his project, but has found someone that is interested in purchasing the property and completing the building out as approved. As a result, the new owner will not be able to exercise the variance by obtaining a building permit prior to the extended date of February 27, 2020. As such, the applicant is requesting another variance extension of 1 year to allow time to exercise the variance. Good evening, Councilor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is John Geary, Geary & Geary, 32 Church Street, Lowell, Mass. I'm here tonight representing Einstein Realty, LLC. By way of background, Einstein Realty petitioned and received a variance pursuant to 6.1.4 of the code relative to off-street parking. Back in August of 2018, we were back again, or I was back again, in July of 2019, requesting an extension of that variance for 6 months. So during that time period, my client had been gathering quotes, working with contractors to get an estimate and to get ready to build out the project. Unfortunately, the quotes came in very high and outside of my client's budget. Fortunately, my client has found a buyer for the project who's ready, willing, and able to build out the project as approved, but we need a little bit more time on the variance. So I'm here tonight requesting a further extension.
Thank you, Councilor. Appreciate that. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor? Favor. That portion of public hearing is now closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? That portion of public hearing is now closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Van?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I see no concerns with this extension. I just want to ask Councilor Gary, is this a realistic time frame for the extension, the time frame 1 year? I think because we granted a previous extension a little while ago.
It is, Mr. Peck. So we probably, in hindsight, we should have requested a year the first time around, but we requested 6 months. A year will certainly give us enough time. The buyer is ready to go. She just needs to work on finalizing her contracts with contractors and then, provide enough time to pull the building permits and get going.
Yeah, I totally understand that. This is a big endeavor, so
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah,
no
contractors are very busy right now. Prices are up, so it's a little bit more than the original applicant thought.
Yeah, I have no concerns. I'm in favor of this, so I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Van. Sean?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any concerns with this. No, it seems be good to see the project getting on the ground and get it built. So I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Sean, Dennis? Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions, but I don't have too many concerns. I'm looking forward to the project starting.
Yes.
I can only remember one other project since I've been on the board that we had the request for a second extension. So I echo Van's comments about the fact that we really want to be sure that we're giving an extension where it's warranted. So I like the project a lot, and I understand the issues with getting financing and finding someone that can make the project work. But really, it's a lot to ask to keep continuing this or
It is, I agree. I've been in touch with the buyer, and she has confirmed for me that she'll be ready to go, given a little bit more time.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm looking forward to the project.
Me
I mean,
too.
I remember when we approved this, and I was
Yes.
like, why isn't this happening? Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Dennis. Mark?
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other comments, Counselor? That being said, may I have a motion?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on 102 Appleton Street for extension of prior variance approval for 1 year.
And a second?
Second.
A roll call?
Chairman Perrin,
Approve.
Member Peck,
Approve.
Member Callahan,
Approve.
Member McCarthy,
Approve?
Member Briere.
Approval.
Council, you've been approved. Best of luck on the new project.
Thank you.
Continued project. Thank you. Moving forward, under extension request at 1 East Merrimack Street, the Daily Group LLC, as owner of One Riverfront LLC, is seeking an extension of a variance for 1 year in order to allow the necessary time to exercise the variance originally granted on February 27, 2017. Since the original variance was granted, the applicant has modified the scope of the project. The variance is set to expire February 11, 2020. Is there a petition here? Good evening, Mr. Daly.
Good evening. Thank you. Seems like a common theme tonight with the extensions of projects. So we were before this board last year around this time for a modification of this project. As discussed at that time, we noted the fact that to make it more feasible economically, logistically, and everything else, we came before the board and had the plan modified to 5 stories, and it's really worked out well for us. The tougher part now is just getting everyone on the same page. As noted, I guess it was in the Lowell Sun yesterday, we have had some really good meetings with the city over the last couple of months. We had one last week. We have brought in an investor, engaged an investor, so we are going to be moving forward. Unfortunately, at the time frame isn't going to line up with trying to get the actual building permit before it expires. So we're before the board tonight, looking for an extension, and that's about it. Open to questions.
Thank you. That being said, I'd like to open it up to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? That portion of the public hearing is now closed. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor? Favor. That portion of the public hearing is now closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Sean?
Through Mr. Chairman, I don't have any objection or comments or concerns. Mr. Daly, I'm looking forward to finally getting this project off the ground.
You and me both.
I'm sure you are. So I wish you the best of luck. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Van?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I agree with my colleague. I think this is an exciting project and something great for the downtown and for the city of Lowell. I have no issues with this extension. I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Daly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Van. Mark?
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mark. Dennis?
I like this project a lot, and I'm really looking forward to it again, going forward. Can you remind me, is the first floor retail or commercial space?
It's mixed use. It has been dramatically reduced from the first version. The first version had a significant size restaurant in it, a gym area that would have been open to the public. Now we've scaled that down to a small, small 900 square foot shop facing East Merrimack that we would think would be good for a coffee shop or a lunch place or a really small restaurant.
I'm just glad to get some commercial space there. I think
There
it's
is,
a
yeah.
great opportunity, and I really would like to see the mixed use there especially, so
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to this extension. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Any other comments, Mr. Daly?
Good, thank you.
No, thank you. We appreciate you coming in, and we are looking forward to this project. I will look forward to a coffee shop for my visits to the Lowell Memorial Auditorium.
I'm with you.
That being said, may I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on 1 East Merrimack Street for extension of prior variance granted for 1 year.
May I have a second?
Second motion.
May I have a roll call?
Chairman Perrin,
Approved.
Member Peck,
Approve.
Member Callahan,
Approved.
Member McCarthy,
Approved.
Member Briere.
Approval.
You are, Mr. Daly. Have
Thank
a
you.
great evening.
Have a good
Thanks for
evening.
coming in. Best of luck. Moving forward under new business, ZB 2020-1, a variance and special permit, Hector Rodriguez at 15 Whipple Street, Section 5.1, Section 6.1, Section 12.1, subsection B. Hector Rodriguez has applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for zoning variance and special permit approval to convert a vacant first-floor commercial space into a housing unit, thereby converting the property from a one-family home into a two-family home. The property is located in the traditional mixed-use TMU zoning district. 15 Whipple Street requires variance approval under Section 5.1 to encroach on the minimum lot size, minimum lot area per dwelling unit, minimum frontage, side setback, and rear setback. 15 Whipple Street also requires variance approval under Section 6.1 for the relief from off-street parking requirements, special permit approval under Section 12.1 subsection B for proposed use of a two-family in the TMU zoning district, and for any other relief required under the zoning ordinance. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Can you tell us a little bit about your conversion, your
So
petition?
15 Whipple, it's a property that my wife and I purchased a little bit over a year ago. It's a one-family, four-bedroom unit. It's got a basement. It's called a basement, but it's really a first floor that's directly accessible from the street. That has been vacant for a long time, I gather. You know, this house has been sold a couple of times in the last few years, and I've seen the previous listing, and it's been vacant again for a number of years. So with ceilings about 9 foot high and about 900 square feet, it's a good space for a unit to be built there, a residential unit, and that's what my wife and I would like to build there.
Thank you. That being said, anyone have any comments at this time? Are you in receipt of the comments from the city?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Are you prepared to speak on those from the board members?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. That being said, I'd like to open up to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? That portion of public hearing is now closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? Please approach the podium. One at a time. Just state your name for the record and sign in.
Okay, my name is Charles Filiatro. I represent Filiatro Family Trust. It's a 4-apartment complex at 810 Central Street, which corners Whipple Street. Also, I am partner of Frank and Ernest Convenience Store, which has been established in this city since 1932. Now, my problem is parking. And since I can recollect, it's been a problem in that neighborhood. I have people who park from Chapel Street or all around the city right on my corner. I've got 2 30-minute parking stickers, which are violated continually. Now, on the side of Whipple Street, I have one driveway that furnishes my dumpster in the back. It's continually being blocked by cars, which is there is absolutely no parking on that street that, you know, relinquishes the more people moving into the neighborhood. We already have a people problem with people moving into other apartments, like 3 and 4 families, which makes more cars, and it's really tough. And, you know, I don't blame this gentleman for trying to put more space in there, but at the same time, we're at a crisis in that neighborhood with parking. Now, also, at 13 Whipple Street, where this building is, there's another building which is in back of his building, which has to park in front also. There's another landlocked building there at 9 Whipple Street. Now, I know there's at least 2 cars that reside, from the people that live there. Now, these 2 cars are parked in front. Now, one probably has a legal parking placard there, but that leaves one more space, and that's it. Then the rest of the street is taken up. That's my only concern. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, thank you, sir. You just signed in. I appreciate you coming out this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any others wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Maria, and I am a neighbor also, and
Ma'am, if you could
biggest
just, what's
issue-
your address?
it's 22 Whipple Street.
Thank you.
And I live directly across from this house, and it has been used as a single-family house back since 1966 when I moved into that neighborhood. And the gentleman that lived there, he used it as his home, and he stored his stuff in his basement. That property has a door in the front, granted, but that's still a basement to that single-family house. And for the fact that there's no space at all, it makes no sense at all to make one driveway from that little tiny space in the front of the house to take away 2 parking spaces. So if you build one driveway there and you take away 2 parking spaces, what good is it? It's going down. It's worsening our city situation than bettering it. So the other thing is, like the gentleman said, there is another house right behind it, and another one right behind that. It's such a congested area, and people come and they want to park, and there's no parking. And I have the same issue. I have a parking sticker there that says restricted, and people look at it and they park right there anyway. And so adding another apartment there to a single family, it's just going to make our problem worse. I have a basement too, but I can't convert that into an apartment. And that's just a basement for that single family. That's my biggest thing.
Thank you, ma'am. If I could just ask you to sign in for public record. Thank you
you.
for coming out this evening. Any others wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? Good evening, sir.
Hi, my name's Antonio Quintal. I live at, I own 38 and 40 Whipple Street. I've been there since 1972. And, you know, through the years, the parking situation has gotten much worse in the neighborhood. You know, there's been times over the years that there were a lot of vacant buildings. Now I believe all of the side streets, the majority of them are, they're all occupied around the side streets, which makes it tougher for my end. We normally park on Chase Street in Lowell, and every snowstorm we clean out plenty of spots for people, but it's pretty tough for us to even get a spot after we clean as much as you know, the entire street. There's also directly next door to this property, there's a vacant apartment. I'm not sure what the address is of it, but it's directly down the street on the same side, right next door. Around the corner on Central Street, there's another 2 houses which are currently vacant. Once those eventually get renovated and filled up, that's additional problems with parking. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming out this evening. Any others wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition. That portion of the public hearing is now closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Sean?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant, when he's done. How long have you owned the property?
Since January of last year, so a little bit over a year ago.
Okay. Fran or Jared, my understanding, this property is listed as a single family, but it was used for commercial purposes as well?
Yes.
Okay.
It was formerly a commercial use on the first floor. And it has, if you can see in the photo, there are windows on the front of the property that suggest that it was a commercial.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the photos of the property and look online. I mean, it does suggest that there was a commercial use for it, and there's actually two different listings for addresses there. 15 is on the side, which I believe is a residential area,
And 17.
access to the residential area, and then the front door has 17 on the top. I mean, are they listed as? Do you know if are they listed with that as?
I'm not sure at the moment.
Jared, do you have?
It's common for a lot of buildings in the city to have multiple addresses like that, 15 to 17, so it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case for this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're trying to do here, and it is a tight fit neighborhood, and yes, parking is certainly an issue. I believe it's the second meeting we've had with in the back central area, where parking's kind of come up, and believe me, I have concerns about that as well. I certainly have concerns about that. Couple things though that kind of concern me that I think we probably need a little more information on. I know you provided us with a very good detailed outline, which is much appreciated, but there is no layout of how the proposal is to convert the bottom area, like how the layout's going to be.
You mean the interior of the property?
The interior,
Yeah,
how it's going to,
okay.
how the layout is going to be.
Sure.
And I see the picture, and you provide us the pictures of what it's looking like now, but
Sure.
one thing that I know we would be seeking to in order to do this would be
That'd be no
how
problem.
how the layout was going to be between
Sure.
on that unit. Like, is it going to be one big open space? Are there, several rooms?
It's one big
bedroom,
open space,
break out of
but
the
I understand.
bedrooms,
Yeah.
bathroom, kitchen.
Sure.
The interior of the
Sure.
thing, which I think is something I would like to see
Okay.
before considering this. The other thing too, obviously, the main issue being the parking. You had a chance to go over the comments. I believe there was some mention that you would be willing to put a parking space onto the property?
Yeah, so the idea would be to request, if that's what the board here requires, that there's space there to build a parking spot. So I can have AHO Survey, who is the company that did the survey for this, to actually draw the parking spot. There is space there, but as one of the individuals here noted, you put one there, and then you'll be taking out the one in the street. So that's the challenge with that. But as far as our ability to
Yeah.
do that, that's not a problem.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it from the perspective, you're taking one space off the street.
Yeah.
You, presuming that relief is granted and you're granted, to have the bottom unit be residential, then.
We would be prepared to
yeah.
add the parking spot, yes.
But if you're not, and the unit is kept commercial, you're required to have one space, right, or Fran is supposed to have, you're required to have one on-street space anyway, so, yeah, it's a catch-22.
So one way or the other, yeah.
But I would like to see also is, updated plans on,
Okay.
parking, if you're going to be utilizing that space.
Okay.
Also, I believe that, and again, taking that, it is a tight fit. You got a tight fit property here, which I can see may give you the hardship criteria for a possible variance, because there's not much space to work with. Actually, if I look at the GIS mapping, it looks like actually part of your lot line is encroaching onto your neighbors too, as well. That's based on the GIS. I don't know. I'm not. Maybe that's something to talk over with the surveyor, because the GIS map seems to indicate that the lot lines are encroaching. So that's something to look at. But I would suggest that maybe, I'll listen to what my fellow board members say, but I mean, I don't think I'm in the position, I don't think my opinion is I don't think we're in a position right now to make a decision on this because we're missing some.
So you're asking me for two things, which is the drawings of the interior of the unit?
That would be,
and
yes.
also the surveyor's drawing of how the parking spot would fit
How the
in
parking
the
would be
lot.
laid out on the
Okay.
plot plan, that would be something, because also we'd have to see, you're on an elevated area there.
Sure.
We'd have to see with the curb cut.
Yep.
Obviously, there's gonna be some more, how that driveway is gonna lay out, especially with the elevated area.
Sure.
If you're gonna level it all, or if
A good
whatnot,
portion of it would
a
have to
portion
be,
of it.
yes.
and, yeah, that's about, I'll listen to what my other fellow board members say, but that's my thinking right now, but,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Mark?
I'm unwilling to, not unwilling, strike that. I'm unable to render any decision with respect to your proposed project until we see a definitive parking plan. I think that is a steep hurdle. I don't know how you achieve it, but you're certainly entitled to go back to your people and present us with such a plan.
Okay.
Before we offer final judgment.
Thank you, Mark. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions, but I'd like to start off, so you purchased the property in January last year. Do you live at the property?
No, I do not.
You don't?
No.
And so this is something that you're doing to get more income out of the property?
That's good. And proper utilization of the space. I mean, it doesn't look as nice as it could be. I think it's a nice space. My wife and I are investors in the area. We've never sold the property. We intend to keep it. It's a wonderful, comfortable space for a studio, right? We're not projecting anything more than that. So it will be for utilization from a city perspective, right? I feel that there's sometimes, folks go out without nice, comfortable, clean places to live, and I think that's a wonderful spot that's only missing some cosmetic work on the inside and some finishes. And parking, which I acknowledge is a challenge there, right? So that is the reason why we're doing it, so.
I think you hit the nail on the head. So the parking, you don't have parking on site for the single family?
On site, no. Street parking, yes.
And now you're asking to increase the density of the lot, and you haven't given us a site plan that shows how you're going to satisfy green space or open space and increase parking. It's very dense. I was wondering if you reached out to the neighborhood association or even other businesses or community organizations in the neighborhood that might have parking that could be shared, so that you could potentially come up with a scenario where around the corner of St. Anthony's, I don't know if the church has any flexibility with their lot, but I think you might want to do some research to see if there's any opportunity where it might be, a bit of a walk to your property, but it'd be an opportunity for a site that doesn't have evening parking required that you could potentially utilize.
That's a good idea.
Just as an option, but parking's everything for this location. And I really think that you've got to do something
Sure.
to satisfy that, where it's really just for a benefit of financial gain.
Sure.
It's not, I like the idea of increasing, property utilization, but not at the expense of the neighborhood with parking. I have to see a better solution, and I really am against losing green space, especially in that neighborhood. You don't have a lot of green space. So throwing a parking space in a little triangle just kind of, you don't have a lot of green space already on the lot. See what you can do. I'd reach out to the neighborhood organization and see if you can
I
find
know
out.
the church right on Central Street, they
yeah,
rent some spaces,
yeah.
so, okay. It's a good idea. Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Van?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. You know, first off, I do understand why you're here, Mr. Rodriguez, and I do hear what the neighbors are going through as well. I actually live around the neighborhood, so I totally get it, because my neighbors always park in front of my house, you know, so I totally understand people's concern. I think my reservation is very similar to the rest of the board. I think that first unit or that basement floor could be converted into a studio, but I would like to see more of a detailed parking plan and a layout, so that way it doesn't affect the neighborhood negatively, adversely, you know, as, because I think, end of the day, I think, you know, you want to do the right thing by the neighbors, and the neighbors, I think, one of the meetings said they understand why you're doing this, which is understandable. But I think we want to do it the right way, and I really like Mr. McCarthy's comment about, you know, working with the neighborhood group or some other entity in the area for some kind of shared parking or some kind of parking plan or resolution. You know, I think there can be a middle ground, but before we find a parking solution, I think right now it's not something even I'm comfortable agreeing to do, and I think I'm usually pretty open to a lot of these projects, and you know, to add additional housing in the neighborhood and the city. So right now, I think if you have a definitive parking plan, I would feel better,
Okay.
Mr. Rodriguez. So we get that up and going. You know, like Mr. Briere said, you know, I reserve any comment to the next meeting.
Okay.
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So you heard the wish of the board, so we would recommend a continuance.
Okay.
And we would like to have you come back with an interior site plan, parking plan, open space plan. You can work with DPD. They'd be more than happy to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
We meet the second and fourth Monday of each month. So our next available would be February 10th, my memory is.
Okay.
10th or the 24th of February, which would work for your calendar, sir.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'll work as fast as I can and come back to you guys.
So would you like to would you like to return on the 10th or the 24th of February?
I could come back on the 10th. Pretty sure.
In 2
Do I
weeks.
have to confirm now, or can I confirm
Yes,
tomorrow?
you can confirm now.
Yes. Can I check my
Yeah,
calendar?
by all means, yeah, it's got to be convenient for your schedule because we don't want to have a second continuance.
The 10th works, yes.
Okay. So I would just advise you to take the comments and suggestions of the board members, seek some of those questions and provide those documents, and that being said, strike that,
No,
Mr. McCarthy.
If I could just ask an additional question that just came to me.
Certainly.
Looking at the site plan, Jared, there's a passageway at the lot. I'm not quite sure what the passageway is, but if you go to Google Earth, and you can go by, there's like a drive there where I saw a vehicle parked. Is that access to the rear properties?
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
can't park in that area.
Well, because it isn't there, that passageway was drawn. There's a wall, it's about a 4-foot wall that actually would prevent anyone from accessing that passageway that's depicted in the drawing. So the passageway that the house behind our property uses is our walkway to access our property. It's the same one. There's a fence and a big wall that prevents anyone from accessing that area.
But is part of that paved area part of your property? Does your property extend that entire,
Yes.
is that off-street parking? Jared?
I don't believe that the passageway is used for off-street parking.
All right, maybe on the site plan that we get, the next one, you show how that wall works and the fence works and where, so just so we can understand
Oh,
exactly.
it works right now, today?
Yeah, because your site plan doesn't show how it really works from a fence.
Right, no.
So if we
because
could
it
just have
doesn't.
that detail on the next
Okay.
site plan,
I think
just so we can
Pictures would
understand
help
better.
as well, I'd imagine.
It'd be great.
Yep.
Thank you.
And actually, just so we can get it clear on that as well, I'd like to see if your surveyor can on the side, because I want to make sure that we're not, that passageway, we're not talking about the passageway that was mentioned by Mr. Filantro that is going back towards the bank of Frank and Ernie's where their dumpster is. You said,
No.
Mr. Filantro, you said there's a passageway back there, right?
There's a right-of-way right next to his property that goes to the cottage, well, the house in the rear.
Okay. So that's the passageway.
I don't know how wide that is, it's 3 or 4 feet maybe, and it goes from Whipple Street to the rear.
Yeah, I don't think
That
that's the
house needs
passageway.
access that way.
That's not what we're talking
I
about.
just like to, it doesn't appear that it's the passageway, but I think from Google Earth and the site plan, the paved surface doesn't seem to be the passageway.
Oh, okay.
But we
That's
just need clarification on the site plan, please.
I think that's where I was getting confused.
Right.
I mean, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess if the surveyor can try to
Yeah.
just clarify that on
Yeah,
the
the
site plan.
paved area, I think, is the gentleman's access to the dumpster in the street.
Yeah, like sometimes we'll get given site plans to show
Okay,
who the neighbors are,
got it.
and, where their lot lines are.
Okay.
Something to that effect if, on the next site plan, just so we're clear. And again, I think another thing too, to have the surveyor look into, like I said, double check the GIS, mapped on the city system, because it looked like, based on from what I'm seeing, the, east side of the building is somewhat encroaching on that, not on the Frank and Ernie side, on the other side.
The other
It's
side.
somewhat, it looks like it's somewhat encroaching on that.
So, but is that a separate issue to handle, or?
I don't know, but that's
that's-
something that the surveyor should probably
Okay,
try
be aware
to
of.
weed out,
Okay,
figure out, because
okay,
it may make things a little bit more complicated than what they
okay, okay.
might be, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments by the board? Yes.
I just wanted to say that the GIS is sometimes a couple of feet off, and the certified plot plans are actually more accurate with regards to the building and its relationship to the property lines.
Okay, all right. Yeah, just something that, since we're going through
I'll have
this,
them
just
look at it
have them double
anyways.
check. I think
Yeah.
just have them double check it.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Fran, I appreciate that.
Thank you. So we're looking for a continuance to February 10th to 2020. You're in agreement of what? I'm sorry?
So since there are so many, or there were 3 main things that you wanted to change, did you want to do the 10th or the 24th to allow yourself enough time to address all of the points?
Let's do the 24th.
Okay.
We can strike that. As you can see, our DPD is very well versed in timelines and what you're going to need to help satisfy
I appreciate
the
that.
answers of the
Yeah.
board to avoid another
Sure,
continuance.
let's do the 24th.
Thank you, Fran. That being said, we'll look to a continuance to February 24th, 2020. You're in agreement with the stipulations and documents provided. May I have a motion?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on ZB 2020-1 for 15 Whipple Street to continue this matter to February 24th, 2020.
A second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Perrin,
Continue to February 24th.
Member Peck,
Continue to February 24th.
Member Callahan,
Continue to February 24th, 2020.
Member McCarthy,
Continue to February 24th.
Member Briere.
Approve continuance.
So you have until February 24th. By all means, use the department. They're very knowledgeable to help you with this. And I want to thank the neighbors for coming out. This is the public notice for the continuance. You'll need to keep your posting up, but there'll be no requirement for public notice and/or remailing.
Okay, thank
So
you.
if you wish to return to speak in favor of, in opposition of this petition, you have to return on February 24th. That being said, moving on to ZB 2020-7 for variance and special permit, MG Realty Development LLC at 720 Roger Street, Section 6.3.4, Section 6.3.2, subsection 8. MG Realty Development LLC is seeking special permit and variance approval to install 3 wall signs and 1 freestanding sign for the car dealership at 720 Roger Street. Thank you. The three wall signs would total approximately 11, 20, and 64 square feet respectively, and each face of the freestanding sign would approximately 78 square feet. All four signs would be eternally illuminated and would replace existing ones. The property is in the Regional Retail RR zoning district, and the sign requires special permit approval under section 6.3.4 for terminal illumination, and freestanding signs requires a variance under section 6.3.2 subsection 8 to exceed the maximum height and size of each face, and for any other relief required under Lowell zoning ordinance. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Philip Naffa. I'm from Harvey Signs, the representative for the dealership, and I'm here asking for a special permit and variance for the said sign package that we've proposed in front of you tonight.
Thank you. And do you have any other comments?
Yes, so we are basically 495 Mazda was purchased from Landon Mazda, and this is the new changeover from the previous name to the new name. With that being said, they are taking advantage of this changeover to go ahead and update all their signage to the current sign package that they provide for the dealership.
Okay.
The building signs, as you can see in the drawings, the service and the Mazda text with the Mazda logo are replacing what was existing. The Mazda logo is the new format as compared to the older form. It's just it's got newer upgraded LEDs. The material is a little bit different, just has a different way of being manufactured. The biggest change is the removal of the word Lannon down to the 495, which is a considerable shrinkage in square footage. Also, the replacement of the signs themselves, the 495 will now be on the left side of the building as opposed to where Lannon was on the right side previously. Because of the new construction on the building, they've reformatted the location of the signage. And then also we're asking for the pylon sign to be reapproved, as back in 2010 it was approved because it was not within the requirements of the town or city. And we are just installing a new sign in adjacent to the existing sign. It's a little bit larger in the overall size. The pole covers just have a larger look to them, which is again just Mazda's new updated logo. Because we did not install the original sign, we do not have the final engineered specifications on the footing, which is in the ground. So barring that, we've decided to just install a new footing as close to it as possibly, that we can, so that we have, engineered drawings to prove that what's going in the ground is sufficient to what's going to hold it up.
Thank you. So it's part of a national rebranding and upgrading the entire sign system
Correct.
using updated LED.
Yep.
And all
So
the,
newer green technology, lower voltage, less electricity,
perfect.
more user-friendly materials.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We do appreciate your in-depth plan, and I certainly understand your concerns with the footings, and you're taking the necessary cautions there, so.
The one other thing, if I can, I'd like to make some sort of recommendation. In 2010, when the special permit was granted that it was for only that sign at that time with no other changes being made. I would assume that 495 Mazda plans on staying in the city for a long time. They do good business. And every 10 to 15 years, these rebrands happen. It's just what the dealerships do. So we're requesting that it just be, I guess, permitted or allowed, that this sign is always allowed at that property for the duration of the property, so that in 10 years, we don't have to come back again and seek special approval for a sign that's been there for 30 years. I'm not sure if that's something the board can do.
Jared, wish to comment, Fran?
So, so long as the sign would be the same size or smaller, then that typically would be allowed. I guess historically there was a special condition that was placed on sign permits, and that was what had required them to come before the board tonight.
Thank you. That answers your question.
Thank you.
I always like to let the more knowledgeable people, staff that we have here, help us out. So that being said, and any other comments at this time?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to open it up to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition. That portion of the public hearing is now closed. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? That portion of the public hearing is now closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Mark?
This is a question for you guys. Current conditions, are they going to remain in effect? Do we have to worry about times of illumination or anything else?
So this is an entirely new application, so you could place whatever conditions you'd like to, but the original conditions were for a past application. Those signs are going away. So this is all a blank slate, if you want.
So what are the illumination rules currently? Is it this 9 p.m. time?
Yeah, there was a condition from the memo.
So they would be
specifying-
expected to adhere to that if...
To the, what's been current for the last years. Yep.
If you'd like to apply the same condition, you can, but since this is a new application for new signs, then you can choose whatever conditions you'd like.
All right, well, I'm not looking to be any more stringent than we already may be. So currently, we're utilizing that 9 p.m. time?
That's correct.
Okay, so we would be consistent if we stuck with that.
Yeah, we could be consistent with the previous illumination times, or what we've been doing for a while now is dusk to dawn, no later than 1 hour after closing.
Okay.
For the seasonal process. So, to Mr. Bria's point, the board has a lot of illumination signs, there's a lot of upgrades which are happening throughout the city, which is great. So if we stay in the line of dusk to dawn, an hour prior, an hour after, no later than an hour after closing. So that doesn't affect you seasonally.
Okay, thank you.
Still allows you when we lose sunlight at 4:10.
Yeah.
It allows
I get
you
real busy for that 1 week.
It allows
when
you
it
to
just turns
stay-
dark all of a sudden. People are like, oh, our signs don't work. No, it's just dark early, that's all.
That'll afford you the opportunity, if you close at 8, to remain till 9.
Okay, thank
No
you.
later than 9.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mark. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just want to comment that the application is very thorough and detailed, and
Thank you.
I'm glad to see that. And you've actually decreased the size of the
Yes,
sign
because
from
the
Lannon to
name
495.
Lannon has shrunk down to
That's-
Mazda, so
Yeah.
basically Mazda has a specific code where everything has to be a square footage requirement based off of their logo. So even if they wanted to make 495 as big as Lannon, they couldn't because then it would be bigger than their Mazda logo, which they won't allow.
Right.
So it's a good thing they don't have a bigger name than Lannon.
And then you're also, only half the maximum permitted wall signage is what was being asked
Correct.
for. So
Again,
you've got a
that goes
lot of
back to the square
restraint there.
footage that
Yep.
Mazda is requiring.
Yep, great. The graphics look good.
Thank you.
And if that's what you want, I think that it makes a lot of sense. So I think the hours of illumination were the only comment that I had too. So that's
Okay.
taken care of. So
Thank you.
nice job. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Mark? Strike that, Dennis. Strike that. Sorry, wrong petition. Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have
Too
no-
much of a scorecard up here. I should
Yeah.
just go with what's left of my memory.
I have no comments or concerns. The branding, the new branding looks really, really nice. I know you got
Thank
a lot of construction going on over there, building the new building with the transfer of ownership and everything, which hopefully goes well. So I wish you the absolute best of luck. So
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, Sean. Van?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I agree with my colleagues. I think this makes sense, the rebranding, the upgrades. I think this business is doing well in the city of Lowell. So I'm glad to see, and all of us are glad to see that it's growing and it's still going to exist. And this marketing makes sense. So, and very well put together package, sir.
Thank you.
I agree with Mr. McCarthy. I'm a visual guy, so wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Van. So just have one condition on the hours illumination. You're in agreement. With that being said, may I have a motion?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on ZB 2020-7 for 720 Rogers Street for special permit under section 6.3.4 for internally illuminated sign and section 6.3.28 for a freestanding sign with the condition that the hours of illumination will be 1 hour before sunrise to 1 hour after sunset or closing, whichever comes later.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Chairman Perrin,
Approve with condition.
Member Peck,
Approve with conditions.
Member Callahan,
Approve with condition?
Member McCarthy,
Approve with condition.
Member Briere.
Approve with conditions.
Thank you, sir. You've been approved.
Thank you.
Best
Have
of
a good
luck.
night.
Continued success. Moving forward is EB 2020-8 for variances. Michelle D. Almeida at 52 Staveley Street, Section 5.1. Michelle D. Almeida has applied for a variance approval to add an approximately 1,660 square feet multi-floor addition, including a new attached garage at 52 Staveley Street. The property is located in the traditional single neighborhood family TSF zoning district. 52 Staveley Street requires variance approval under Section 5.1 for maximum FAR, minimum side yard setback, and for any other relief required under Lowell zoning ordinance. Good evening, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chamber and members of the board. My name is Michelle D. Almeida. I'm property owner of 52 Staveley Street in Lowell. And I'm looking to do an addition within a garage.
So in receipt of your plans, your site plans, you prepared to speak to those tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other comments at this time, or you'd like to move with the board?
Move with the board.
Okay. I'd like to open up to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? That portion of the public hearing is now closed. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? That portion of public. Oh, strike that, I apologize, sir.
My name's Joseph Karan.
Good evening.
I'm a neighbor of these people looking to put the addition on. And I've seen the design, it looks very nice. I think it'll look very good for the area. And they keep a real clean area right now, as they do. So I think it'll only be an improvement for the area they're looking to do their project.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for coming out. And thank you for your service.
Get this.
Any others wishing to speak in favor? In favor?
That's my husband.
In favor? That portion of the public hearing is now closed. I'd like to open up the board. Dennis?
Okay, through you, Mr. Chairman, I've got a couple of questions. Let's start with the site plan. So you have an existing shed? I think you have like a double shed or something there right now?
Well, what happened was my husband, we have a shed, and what happened was my husband was putting up a temporary, what do you call it? It's like a roof with just like no walls or anything, just to put his tools and stuff underneath, because the house that we have is very small, and we have a basement, but in the basement has like a huge rock. So we have like literally no storage in our house, and the shed that we have is very small, so I kind of put all the kids' like bikes, Christmas stuff, so it's no room for really his stuff. So in the back, he did put up a, it was supposed to be like temporary, just something to store his stuff under. But once we do this, like all that's gonna come down. The shed's gonna come down, and that will also be removed. No, the shed.
Sir, if you could just speak at the podium.
Sorry.
That's okay. If you could just come to the, yeah, at this point, if you could just come and just state your name for the
How you
record.
doing? My name is Johnny. Real name is João de Almeida, but everybody call me Johnny. I own the
welcome.
business Johnny's Carpentry. And I built a little roof over and full post and for stored my stuff underneath, my saws or stuff. But that one I go tear down and I go move the shed like about 5 feet the way I go building. And after that, after I build everything, I tear everything down because I have, it's not gonna, for me build the addition, I need have some place for me to store my stuff. But the little temporary shed I built, I go knock that thing down right away, you know?
Yeah, once he has like this up, just to be able to store the stuff, it'll be up there, but once this is up, then.
The time I finish everything, I go tear it down.
Okay.
Great.
Dennis.
Okay.
I
I'm
think
glad
I
I got
know
that
you.
answered. I know you too. I've never seen you with the tie, though. It looks
I
good.
did some work for you
That's
guys
right,
long
that's
time
right,
ago.
yeah. The footprint of the addition is kind of similar to the double shed that you have right now. In theory, if you knock down the double shed kind of thing,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
basically,
I still have a lot of space there.
did you get permits for this shed that you built?
No, I built it temporary, and I think to put down a stump in the
All right,
ground, they
you started
build a
asking.
little roof for put down the.
Understand. All
That's
right.
what take the snow off the.
Okay. And then you have a pool in the back.
Yes, when we bought the home, the fence was up, and I did pull a permit for the pool. And when we bought the home, I guess years ago, which was, we weren't aware of, I guess the people that, in that neighborhood all moved their fences, each down the line, which I was unaware of. So when I did get the permit for the pool, I didn't know, but I did come and pull a permit for the pool. But when we got the site plan, the plot plan, it showed some of our pool was on National Grid. And when I asked the neighbors, they said years ago, all the neighbors, if you look down the line on that side, they all moved their fence. I did put a call out to National Grid 5 times and left them messages, trying to have them call me back to see if I could have permission to use their land or what I could do so I wouldn't have to move the pool, because it's above ground pool, and above ground pools, they don't last that long, so it's not like it's gonna be there forever. So I was just gonna see if I could get some kind of permission to, it's not all the way on their land, but it's on their land, and I was unaware. If you look at the permit and the date and the time that I got the plot plan, it will show you that, I was unaware. But, yeah, I guess everybody in the neighborhood moved their fences. So everybody has some of their stuff on National Grid's land, I guess.
Got it. Okay. There's a lot of comments in the memo.
And I even called City Hall a few times trying to figure out how, I was like, and, they told me, they're like, National Grid's just, as long as you're not touching their power lines and you're not, building anything, they really don't. But I've tried to call everybody to try to fix this.
Okay, thank you. Jared, if I could just ask about comment 3B, floor area ratios, our famous floor area ratio discussion. So we have at 51, I'm sorry, at 52, it would be 0.56. It would be the floor area ratio. And the median is 0.33.
Correct.
And it would be the highest floor area ratio of the whole grouping that you have here?
Yes.
Substantially. Does that floor area ratio, the 0.56, include the storage facilities that are on the site?
No. It is a higher floor area ratio on the property with the addition. The floor area ratio that was calculated at the bottom is with the addition.
No, I understand that, but when I drove by the property, there's the shed and the roof, if you will, currently. So they don't contribute to the floor area ratio? Because I don't think that, I'm just kind of visually ballparking it here.
So right now the floor area ratio is 0.36, which is similar to others in the neighborhood, but the addition is over 1,100 square feet of additional living area, so that's why it's much larger.
So it's not the footprint, you're talking about the footprint and the second floor calculated. That's where the addition comes, the additional number comes from? You're right. Okay.
That's correct. It's the gross floor area that goes into the floor area
two-story.
ratio. Things like a garage doesn't count, and the accessory buildings won't count either. But your basement, your attic, any covered porches, the interior living space, all of that counts towards the gross floor area.
The addition is 2 garage bays, though.
There's also living space on the second floor and an extension to the existing
There's an
house
extension.
as well.
Okay. It just looks like it fits so well. I was really shocked by the number being that high. I don't know. It's our floor to area ratio dilemma.
Yeah, the memo that staff provided last year looked into the traditional neighborhood single-family zoning district, and if I remember correctly, something like a ratio of 0.7 would equal 75% of the properties in that district. So I think in a lot of instances, many properties within the TSF are non-conforming today.
Okay. All right, and then we're going to have a fair amount of green space left on the lot. I'm not sure I see that identified anywhere as far as a quantity. Is that labeled on any site plan as far as the amount of green space that's going to be left? I don't see it.
Well, beside us, it's a paper street. It's no really houses on that side, and in back of us is all National Grid, so it's not really any neighbors close to us. I don't know if that helps. Sorry.
The site plan that I'm looking at doesn't identify paved surface for driveway, doesn't identify paved surface for front walk, doesn't identify, hardscape, if you have an outdoor patio, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I hope your intent isn't to pave the whole lot.
No, we're just gonna keep it,
Straight,
The
the
driveway
driveway
the
will
same
be
way.
straight to the,
yeah, just straight to the
bay-
garage.
the garage doors.
I'd like to see a condition that if we go forward with this, or if we continue it or whatever, but that we provide a site plan providing hardscape, limits of sidewalk, limit of front walkway, as well as limits of driveway be presented on a site plan.
Okay.
Just so that we have a clear picture as to what you're doing and you're not paving the whole lot.
No, I don't want to pave the whole thing.
Right.
If I pave the whole thing, Michelle kill me,
Don't want that. All right. I'll listen to the rest of my board members here, but I don't see a big problem with granting this much of a stretch on the FAR, because I think that you've done a responsible job of presenting where it goes. You've set it way back off the street, and it's well within the setbacks required, so thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Mark?
No, I'm not offering this in an accusatory vein, a precautionary one. I note here that you did take some liberties with National Grid. I guess you guys are buddies with National Grid, right? So we got a pool on National Grid's land, and then your partner built a garage of some sort?
Yeah, partial, yeah. Not a garage, it's just
No,
the
it's
roof.
like
It
just
encroaches on the,
2 feet.
okay.
2 feet in the corner.
Yeah.
And then, as I read on the comments from DPD, you didn't request the variance necessary for the minimum side yard setback. Now, was that just an oversight, or is that a liberty?
What's that?
It's talking about the little shed I built there?
I'll quote, you should have requested a variance for minimum side yard setback. So somebody advised you on these plans, of course?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, okay. So that request wasn't made. Why is that?
It was probably overlooked, he probably didn't,
All right, but,
Yeah,
all right, okay, but that's why I'm saying this is precautionary.
Yeah.
Because there's a pattern of liberties being taken here. And we want to ensure that we're not skirting the law, right? So, in all future dealings with the city, you got a big smile on your face. Want to ensure that everything's done
Yeah.
proper, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No further questions, Mr. Chairman. Michelle, Take it easy.
Me?
You don't have to look so
Guy's
concerned.
nervous,
Because
huh?
I like to do everything.
It's him we got to worry about. He takes all these, you know. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for, regarding the side yard setback, I know you didn't apply for it, but Fran, we're able to consider that based on what's been posted for the,
Yes, all other relief required encompasses the side yard setback as well.
okay. Well, I do have a couple, I have some couple questions on with DPD. With regards to the side yard setback, I'm looking at it, the memo indicates that the sum side yard was reduced to 22 feet, but I'm reading, it looks like on the back end, based on the site plan, adding up both sides of the side yard indicated, it looks like we're actually dealing with 24 feet because we have 13.1 and then 11.7. Actually, about 24.8. Would that be correct? I'm trying to figure out where.
You would be looking at the two shortest, at the narrowest point, and
Two narrowest
adding
points,
them
oh,
together.
okay. All right, so it would be 11.3 down to 7.7. So we're actually looking at 20 feet, actually 19 feet, right? I'm adding up 11.3 and 7.7 is 19 feet.
Yes, 19 feet total.
All right. I just want to make sure, just clarify that, because then my question then to the applicant, and I know you're not aware of the side yard setback portion of this, and it probably should have been brought to your attention earlier than that. I mean, is there any way you could scale back is there any possibility of scaling back the proposed addition a little bit in order to meet those requirements to 25 feet? I mean, I know I'm just trying to figure out, we're trying to save having to do another extra variance, if possible, to keep you, at least keep you in compliance with that.
This is the first footprint.
So you actually make the
You'd have to reduce the side down back 6 feet. I know it's probably a big ask, but I'm just kind of.
Because I do 6 feet, this is gonna be too small upstairs, you know, and my upstairs, I don't have no bathroom, it's too tiny, and
Well, because upstairs is very.
I try, because before I don't have no TV, I have a lot of kids, I needed some room for my girls, you know? And that's why I try to do this and I like the neighborhood, you know, and I don't wanna move to other place. My wife say why else don't sell it by other house? Say, no, I love over here, this is nice neighborhood, you know?
Well, because the rooms are very small and the roof goes like this. So one of the bedrooms upstairs doesn't even have a closet. So it's like really small, like one of my daughters, like she's in college right now and I would love to, try to keep the kids home as long as you can, with the rent rising so high right now. I have 3 girls and it's really hard, but the rooms are so small that we're all like smushed in this house right now.
Let's try to work this from the angle, because it's going to be a garage, right? So, going on the plans, and the addition, so the addition is, we're looking at it this way, like an L, right? That's how it's going to go?
That's the way it will look like.
So the part of the garage that extends out, now, for the side yard, that's going to be, based on the site plan, the side yard is going to be 11.3 feet is the easiest thing, so.
We're talking about this.
What are the dimensions of the 2-car garage? I'm just trying to figure out, like, well, actually, you got 24 feet. Extension, you take that back 6, it'll be 18? No. Yeah, 18. You take that back 6 feet, it'll be 18 feet, right? So what, I guess, Fran, Jared, I mean, what are kind of the standards for for parking? What are the dimensions for parking again? Can you just, I'm trying to use the dimensions for parking in order to try to like see if we can, I'm trying to see if we can work something out with regards to saving the variance for the side yard, if possible. And you don't have, I mean, again, I know it's a big ask, but I'm trying to see what we can do on that end.
Yeah, so in the TSF district, a legal parking space is 8 feet by 18 feet.
8 feet by 18, right? So it would just be enough if we reduce it down to 16.
And there's another provision in our zoning code. It's section 6.1.11. That states some or all of the parking requirements for residential dwellings may be satisfied within enclosed residential garages. Requiring parking spaces located within residential garages must include a clear area of at least 11 feet in width and 21 feet in length.
All right.
And conform to all applicable provisions of the state building code.
So that answers that. You really can't pull it, you can't push it back 6 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, you can push it back 2 feet, but what's the difference? What's going to be the difference?
Too small.
I don't know, Dennis, do you?
We're also pushing it into we want to have a green space along the house itself. I think we want to have 3 feet, so the close, we eliminate that. So it really starts to, I think the variance is probably best of, unfortunately, for the side yard setback.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying to save it. I'm trying to save them having to do a variant, having to possibly having to deal with the side yard setback, so, which, I mean, isn't really, I'm not saying it's a big issue, it's just I'm trying to see if we can save that portion of it, because I think that also cuts down on the floor to area ratio too as well, which would, I mean, we were trying, just trying to think outside the box and getting things a little bit more in line with the zoning code, because I know the floor area ratio thing is something that we've been dealing with recently. That's a big thing, and my other main concern was the National Grid thing, but you're trying to work that out with them. I'm kind of surprised that all the other neighbors there are encroaching on National Grid's property, and they're apparently
Well, I think
not.
this was years ago, because we've owned the property for 5 years, so you're thinking, I guess, before the owners that bought this house, it was like that, they said. So I guess this was, I don't know.
No.
When I pulled the permit, I was unaware, and then that's what I found. And I put out a call to National Grid. They've been in the back and they cleaned, they never said anything, and so I don't know.
In some house there, the shed is all National Grid land. And that's like a 2 feet, but I go knock down, you know. And the neighbor shed, you can look in the.
Wait, so your shed, see, this is where I'm getting a little confused, because you put on the site plan, you got the existing shed there that you're going to be demolishing or removing, right? Is that,
After I be done, I go remove everything. It's go have a lot of green land over there.
That's the shed that's on National Grid's land?
No.
Okay.
The new
Right behind this shed.
Yep.
He put up a temporary, like a roof with just 4 posts.
Okay, extending from the shed.
Yes,
Yeah.
right,
Gotcha.
right against ours. So it's, the temporary thing is like going a little bit on their land also.
Yes, about
Gotcha.
2 feet, yeah.
Okay. So it's an extension of the existing shed that's encroaching
Yeah.
past
Correct.
into National Grid's property. Okay. But that's going to be taken down as well?
Yeah, and anyway, they would
Yeah.
tear down that thing.
Okay. And again, Fran, Jared, just the existing pool there with National, just because it's encroaching on National Grid's land doesn't necessarily have any effect on what we do here today, right?
Yeah, it's not pertinent to the petition that we're looking at today, so.
They may have another issue with that, but that has nothing to do with us, so. I mean, but again, I'm sure National Grid may come calling at some point.
Well,
I know you've reached out to them.
No, but I've left 5 messages just to see. I mean, like I said, if it's an issue, we will have to like either remove the pool or move it up, and that's why I asked, like, I could move it up to my line
Yep.
of my property, if that would be okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not affecting us. I mean, it's just kind of one thing that's kind of, I don't know if we would have to condition that, but it doesn't affect anything that we're dealing with here today. If it was something that was affecting it, then we'd have to make some condition that you're getting some form of easement from National Grid, or something to that effect, but it doesn't have any effect on us. Like I said, it's probably something that you may have to be dealing with National Grid later on other
And that's
on
fine.
other
I mean,
issues, so it's
I've
like-
left messages, so I've been waiting.
Gotcha, cool. I mean, otherwise, I mean, I don't see any other issues with regards to this, and like I do see you do have a hardship on this instance, again, especially with the side yard setback and trying to work with that. I would agree with Dennis's condition of a hardscape plan to demonstrate, the layout and how the parking is going to work, the drive up to the garage is going to work, so, including curb cuts. So I wish you the best of luck. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Ben?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I totally get why you're doing this. It makes sense to me. I think what I'm more relief of is that temporary structure of the shed is going to come down when you put the new garage, so that makes sense. I was a little apprehensive with the FAR, the floor area ratio, but I think relief can be granted. I think you do have merits to this variance, and I always think it's a good thing when you have a neighbor, speaking in favor of this, and if someone was really against, this project or addition, it'll probably be a little harder to work through. But I think the side yard setback, I'm okay with that personally. So overall, I think this project and this variance can be granted. So I do wish you folks the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Van. You have a comment, Sean?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman. There's one thing, even though you are removing the existing shed for this, it doesn't state anything about the extension or the temporary extension.
Yeah, they're
that
both
you've-
going to be removed.
Yeah, we're going to condition that has to be removed also.
Yeah, yeah,
because-
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I go.
Yeah.
No, we just want to make sure it's clear on the record that
Yeah, yeah.
that's, even though you're taking away the shed,
Yeah.
that shouldn't remain up either. So we want to make sure that that's, because it's not, if it was contained on the site plan, then
Yeah.
that would be fine, but we want to make sure that that's taken down
No,
as
no,
well.
I take down. I keep it there the time I build it because I need something for me to store my stuff. After I finish, I tear the, right now, before I start, the little temporary shed, I go remove. And after I build it, I remove the old shed too. I'm gonna knock the whole thing down, make a nice clean for my girl, play some basketball, do something in the backyard. Little.
Not me.
Okay, no, thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments for the board? We have the one condition. Two, strike that, two. And petitioner is in agreement. That being said, may I have a motion?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on ZB 2020-8 for 52 Stavely Street for a variance under section 5.1 for maximum floor FAR and side yard setback, with the conditions that the applicant is to provide a hardscape plan, site plan approval through DPD, and also the condition that removal of the existing shed would also, with the removal of the existing shed, you also remove the temporary extension that's attached to that shed.
May I have a second?
Second motion.
Roll call.
Chairman Perrin,
Approve with conditions.
Member Peck,
Approve conditions.
Member Callahan,
Approve of conditions.
Member McCarthy,
Approve with conditions.
Member Briere.
Approve with conditions.
Congratulations, been approved with conditions. And thank you
Thank
for
you
your
very
time
much.
and best of luck with your project.
Okay.
Now, do I
Thank you.
get a piece of paper or anything, or do we have to come back for just to give you proof?
You'll
of it?
receive it. Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
can, you'll receive from DPD.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you're ready to go.
Thank you
Any
very much,
questions,
sir.
just reach out to the office.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight, Mr. Karan. Take care. Moving forward under other business, we have minutes for approval for January 13th, 2020. Any comments, edits, or concerns?
Good job, Fran. First set of notes, notes.
Well done. We have always been appreciative of where we have moved forward to with the information that's coming from DPD with the FAR writings, the rulings, and in the minutes. It's great to be accurate. Any other comments? We have a motion for acceptance.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for January 13th, 2020.
Second?
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Accept the minutes. Roll call.
Chairman Perrin,
Accept the minutes.
Member Peck,
Accept the minutes.
Member Callahan,
Accept minutes?
Member McCarthy,
Accept the minutes.
Member Briere.
Present.
We have any other comments or concerns? I do want to take a brief moment. I want to extend a courteous thank you to Mr. Philip Jemine. He was on the board here for, I believe, 2 years and change. From the chair, I want to thank him for his professionalism and his time to this board and to the community in his civic duty. He will be sorely missed, and I wish him the best of luck in his family endeavors and his free two-time Monday night meetings. I wish him well, and thank you for your service. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, sir, I just want to echo the same sentiments. Mr. Jimena was always very courteous, professional. I enjoy working with him. I think some people don't realize the commitment it takes to be on this board and to do this role in this capacity. It is very time-consuming. So I completely understand why people would have to move on. Great guy. So I do wish all the best to him and his family and the endeavors he does. So I just want to echo the same comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I share the same sentiments as you and the Vice Chair. Mr. Jimena will be sorely missed on his participation on the board. And he did a great job while he was here, did a great service for the city, and I wish him the best of luck and hope to see him in the future with any city functions and events.
Thank you, Sean. Dennis?
I'd like to also add that I thought Phil, added quite a bit to the board, but the sacrifice that people have to make to get here on time, especially living or working outside the city, is tremendous. And I think that Phil really strove to do that as best he could for the time that he was on the board. And it's a testament to his interest in the community and really working to make it work for as long as he could. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Mark?
Frankly, Mr. Chairman, I never cared for Philip Jemena. And so, good riddance. Actually, he's a very close friend of mine. I've enjoyed him. He was a hell of a colleague, and we'll all miss him.
I appreciate it. I know you have a storied history. And that being said, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Get a second?
Second.
Meeting's adjourned. Have a good evening.